Good evening, YouTube world. I'm your host, Paul Italia. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. We got our two guests in the house tonight. We got my man Kevin Hess, and we got my man Russ Burry. What's up, fellas? How's everybody doing tonight?
What's going on, Paul?
How are you, sir?
Same old, same old. Actually, just want to catch up with everybody. It's been a while. I haven't been on the air. I know a lot of people been asking questions where I've been. I've been getting a lot of messages and all. So I kind of want to, update everybody. Also want to shout out everybody in the chat. We got my man Drew tuning in from Vegas. What's up, Drew? We got my man Junk on Junk Off. Steve, what's up, bro? And let us know if you're in the chat. If you guys got any questions tonight, definitely put them in the chat. We're going to kind of do like an interactive where you guys could ask any questions, and we're going to be doing lots of just talking with you guys. We got my man Ignacio. What's up, Ignacio? Actually, I seen you yesterday. You drove right by me, brother. How you doing, bro? Yeah, your big monster in the truck. That Samoan dude. That dude is a monster, man, for real. So, guys, I just wanted to, I know the big elephant in the room. Everybody's been kind of asking, how come I'm not going to the Junk Expo? And where have you been? You kind of just disappeared on us and everything. So, the real reason that what's been going on is I'm gonna pivot my direction. I was getting into like a bunch of stuff with the junk removal industry that I wasn't liking. It wasn't going positive and everything. And I just want to make a direction change right now, because I kind of got caught up with you know, first I wanted to just find out what services are good, who's doing the right thing, what's worth buying, what's not, and all. And that's why I was doing the unfiltered and all. But then it started like kind of spiral in a negative kind of way. And then it was kind of like a witch hunt kind of going on. And you know, I didn't want to go that route. So, I just said, you know what, it's not going anywhere that I like. I also am so busy with business and everything. And, I just, there's no money. I'm not making no money with, anything I'm doing in the junk removal industry for me to be bringing up so much drama and, all this time devoted to it and people hitting me up nonstop, asking me all these questions. And I'm just like, this is not where I was trying to go. This channel is made for me to learn. It's to speed up my progress in building my brand and in my business. And that's my priority. And I might have, maybe fell off direction a little. I caught myself and now I'm putting myself back in the right direction. So we're going to keep this very positive and everything. I'm also going to pivot what I'm doing as far as what's going on in this channel. I see another opportunity. I think that we could learn as a community through other people as well, not just in the junk removal. So I'm going to start bringing on, I have a lot of very successful friends and everything that own businesses. They're very successful entrepreneurs. And I'm also part of a big network of them as well. And I want to start doing one-on-ones with them. What I want to do is kind of like tie it all together, because, business is business, and we could learn from other communities as well and see their strengths and systems and things that they're doing and finding success. And we could learn how to incorporate it with our junk removal industry and all. So that's where I'm going to start going with it. I still want to do the junk removal interviews, of course. I'm going to always have my two guys right here, always on. I'm also want to hear from you guys because feel like I'm evolving in junk removal and I'm at a different level now. Before it was more beginner level and all, and now we're starting to get into more to transition in getting employees, hiring, starting to scale. So now I want to start kind of focusing on other people and other businesses that might be a larger size, maybe the next step up from what I've been doing and all. So that's where I'm going to be pivoting with the junk removal industry and the entrepreneurs. So I just wanted to update everybody. That's pretty much it. I backed out of the junk expo as well. I just felt there was just a lot of drama and everything going on with that. And I just want to not be involved with the drama anymore. So I have no ill will to anybody. I am wishing them the best junk expo. A lot of friends go into it and everything, and I wish them the best. And I know they're going to have a great time and all. But It's just not for me, and that's all I'm going to say about that, guys. So, what's up, fellas? And I want to catch up with you guys. I want to find out what's been on your plate. I see Russ got a new haircut, and I'm feeling it. He's looking good and fresh. So, what's up with you, Russ? What's been going on, man?
Just yeah, just getting my ass kicked the last probably 2 months. It's been a long summer for me. We yeah, we're just getting our ass kicked every day, and so it started actually in May. We had 5 people in May, and 6 actually, and one left to go do his dream job. He's actually back now helping me on the weekends, run dumpsters that we can't get to in the middle of the week. So he'll come back on the weekends and work and run dumpsters. So that's a big help coming. But we've been basically running with 5 people, and then one went out with eye surgery. He was gone for 6 weeks, and then we fired one guy, hired another guy. That guy quit. So then I was down to 2 guys, my wife and myself.
All right, hold on. We gotta dissect this, man, as we're going, man. So, why did you fire somebody, and kind of tell us how
Yeah,
that all went down?
I don't usually fire people. It's not something that I usually do, and this one I just couldn't deal with anymore. And basically, what happened is he was a driver of my trucks, and he he hit a he backed into my truck on a job, and I was yelling at him. I'm like, "Stop! Stop! Stop! Stop!" And he just kept fucking going, and he hit the front of my truck, and I was like, "You motherfucker! Like, you got to be kidding me right now." He gets out. He's like, and I just walked away because I was like, I can't do this in front of a customer right now. Like, I'm going to choke this kid. I can't deal with this right now. So I go, we finish the job. We get back to the shop, and he's like, "Hey, Russ." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got to tell you something." I was like, "What's that?" And he was like, "I backed into your truck at the shop." And I was like, "I know. I was fucking standing right there yelling at you. I told you fucking not to do it 100 times. You just fucking drove right in the front of the truck." I was like, "Please don't do that again." I won't. I won't. Okay. 2 weeks later, not really 100% his fault. He was stuck in traffic, and he went to go around, and another truck went around him because everybody wants to get in front of the big trucks. So he started, and another car went around. So he went back to the right and hit a post truck and broke the mirror on that. So I was like, it's 2 in 2 weeks. That's great. And then, like a week later, it was his birthday. I didn't even know it was his birthday. And he was in a hurry, and he went to go back the truck up, and he never rolled the door all the way up because we park our trucks inside because I got cat converters and I've had them cut. So we bring them all the gas trucks in at night. And he left the tarp barm up. So it was up and the truck went under, but the bar didn't. So he thought he cleared it, and he just fucking crashed it right into the door. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to yank your fucking head. He takes a picture. This is the problem that I had with him is with doing it was he was so honest, and he was his character and his morals were 100% correct. His brain was attached to his ass, but so I ended up firing him for that, and then we had hired somebody to bring on for help, and he was a great guy. And then I can't understand. I don't fucking understand this generation. I don't get it. He made in his first week. He made $975 in 30 hours. Not only that, but he got to keep in his first week. He got to keep like a 1-year-old couch and a love seat, and like $150 worth of brand new toys for his kids. Right. So first week is about $1,100-$1,200. Right. Second week, I had to go to Florida. My guy was up here. He worked 3 days. Then he was like, "I'm calling in Thursday and Friday." I said, "Oh, okay." And so even then, he made like almost $800 in 3 days. So then Monday comes around. He comes into work, and I was like, "All right, hey, whatever, no problem." Tuesday, never shows up. I call him, like, "Dude, what's going on?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just not coming in no more. This ain't for me." And I was just like, "You motherfucker. I just fired this guy. Just hired somebody. I thought I was good." And then he went out. So now it's like I don't know, second week of August, third week of August, something like that. And I just looked at the team, and I was like, I'm not hiring anybody. I was like, it's the 4 of us and that's it. And I was like, so just buckle up for some long fucking weeks, boys. And I mean, they were working 55, 60-hour weeks, me probably closer to 80, 85 for the last 3 weeks. So it's been a rough 3 weeks.
Russ, what's the process in hiring? the employees and everything. And can you just give me an idea how long has all 4 employees been working for you?
So I'll give you just a background. The guys that I sold my gutter cleaning company to were my employees for 10 years. My one guy has been with me for 11 years between gutters, and then he joined me in junk. The other guy has been with me for 6 years, actually 5 years, in all junk, but I've known him for 18 years. And then it's just my wife, who was stupid enough to marry me 28 years ago. That's what we got. So, yeah. And the reason I didn't hire anybody is because we're transitioning into our slow period, and the last thing I wanted to do was bring somebody on that I couldn't give hours to. And so now my one guy came back. So now there's 3 guys, me and my wife. So now I have a little extra help. So there's 5 of us now. But he's in and out with doctor's appointments with his eyes too. He's got to have checked up. So yeah, it's been a long fucking week. But we're doing well. We're still doing, $18,000-$20,000 weeks with 2 trucks. And so it's long days, 7 days a week. But our labor, we've saved, I think, $12,000 in the first 5 weeks in just labor. So we're absorbing that. You know what I mean? And when you're going into the slow season, this isn't ideal, but this is what we have to do, especially with it slowing down, and more people coming on, to do it. We just had a junk luggers franchise open up in our town last week.
Wow.
So,
yeah. What is that going to do now? That's going to really.
I'm not worried about it at all. I'm really not. When I started, it was me and Got Junk, and Got Junk had been here for 12 years before I started. So, I was up against the biggest guy in the biggest market, and it took me about 3 years of just working my ass off to, I think, let them know like I wasn't one of the guys that was just going to come in and go or just be a 1 truck operation. Like it was going to be someone that was going to be a competitor to them. You know what I mean? And so yeah, so then we had Junk King come in 3 years ago, and now Junk Luggers is here. And then me.
Now all the big boys going at it. So
it don't bother me.
Kevin, talk to me.
Yes, sir.
What's been going on with you, man?
Well, I'd like to point out something that Russ just mentioned. He's talking about these guys that have been with him for years. As much as people think that Russ is a complete asshole sometimes, what he just said screams a great culture. It screams that he is actually a really good leader to his team, and he has a great culture behind him, because having people stay that long and retain people that long means he takes good care of them.
Yep.
So I just wanted to bring that up, because that's exactly what I heard when he said that. So
most people don't pick up on that. You know what I mean? Especially in what we do in manual labor jobs, it's turn and burn. You're constantly hiring people, and I had one guy that I had with me for 7 years, and I let him go, and that was probably one of the hardest ones I've ever done, and I let him go.
The shelf life for most junkers is maximum 2 years. Maximum, before they burn out. But that's only if you don't have a good culture going on, because if you have a good culture, people want to stay. They're making great money. They just love the culture that's going on. They love the leadership. They know that they're bought into the company actually growing and scaling and going to create opportunities for them. That's why people stay. And that just screams that to me. I was just thinking about that, because I was on a podcast earlier today talking about culture, and that is a great example of good culture.
I think a lot of people get caught up in, first of all, I don't let anybody in my business call me boss. I think boss is a negative connotation. I think it means that I have control and power over you. And it reminds me of like a slave master, and you'll do what I tell you to do. And I am not that guy, because I didn't want to work for someone like that. So I became the guy I didn't want to work for, and,
boss,
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, a boss has a title where a leader has influence.
Yeah.
A boss gives orders, a leader creates buy-in.
Yep.
So, bosses say, go do this. A leader say, hey, let's go do this together.
Yep.
So that, a boss is going to hide behind a clipboard or stay in the office, where a leader, he's leading from the front like you do. So, that's, people see that, culture is not something that you teach. It's not something that's taught. It's something that's caught.
Right.
People, they catch your mentality and your mindset and what you're doing, and they're going to learn from that. So, and in junk removal, that difference is massive, and people need to understand that, because you're getting commitment when they show that you're a leader versus a boss.
Kevin, can you give me an example of some things that a good culture has in business?
Something a good culture has in business.
What's some good things that we could implement in our business that sets a great tone for everything?
Like one of the things is, like Russ just mentioned, leading from the front, being out there, because that's something that's different in a blue collar industry, whether, junk removal, any other home services, whatever, is actually leading from the front, not sitting at the, office and just telling people what to do. They're actually out there with them, sweating, getting bloody, getting dirty. And like I mentioned, that culture is caught and not taught. But also, there's a lot of things like recognition, right? Recognition is important, because what gets recognized and what gets praised gets repeated. So if you're shouting out the guys for doing a good job, if he's out there just kicking ass, closing every job, bringing in great revenue, he's going to shout his ass out. You're going to high five him. You're going to shout him out in front of the whole team on a, group text or whatever. That recognition for them is fuel. That's better than any dollar amount you can throw at them in bonuses to them, because they know that what they're doing for you actually matters to them. Right.
So that has me thinking. So I'm thinking like setting like meetings, like when you have the daily meetings and then you have like your weekly meetings. So maybe like during the weekly meeting, that's when you do a shout out for that. So like setting maybe like Friday at the end of the day, we kind of go through what everybody did for the week, kind of go over the numbers and all. Have you ever did anything like that and seen?
I did daily huddles every morning. Every morning we would talk about our goals and our numbers that we did the day before. We do all the shout outs, we'd shout out the guys that really kicked some ass. We'd shout them out, and then we'd set, we talk about, okay, we got this job for the day. We're going to, it's going to need this. You're going to need some extra tools for this, just talking about some of the jobs that are, and that they're going to be on. And then we'll set goals for that day as well. And we'll have the guys come up with the goals. They know the formula, how many jobs we have, how many add-ons, we're probably the percentage of add-ons, same day add-ons we're going to have. So, we do that formula, and we know we're going to need this. We're going to get this much revenue today. And, we're going to need this many Google reviews. We're going to need this, we shout that out, and then that gets the team motivated. And part of that is also part of the culture, is the fact that I'm not the one leading that meeting. I'm empowering my team to do it. I pull a different guy every day to lead that meeting, because after a while, as the leader, my voice gets stale, right? And you put somebody else, one of your team guys out there, to run that meeting, boy, they're going to be filled with pride. That empowerment is really powerful, and the rest of the team is looking up to that guy now as a role model. It's like, damn, this guy's like a leader now. I want to be like him. I want to run that next meeting. Sometimes we'll throw in training and let them run the training. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that my voice wasn't stale. So whenever I held a meeting, that I was going to hold their engagement, and I was going to make it really powerful. So that, we'd have monthly all hands meetings. We'd bring everybody in if they could come in, because, in Atlanta, it's a long commute for a lot of people. So we'd even set up a, Google Meet where they can join from home if they didn't make it, but we'd have the whole team there. And then I would have a powerful, motivating, inspirational meeting with them and set goals for the entire month or whatever. But the daily meetings, to me, those were really, really important. And the fact that, it was part of our ritual. And, and that's saying, this is who we are and this is how we roll. And they expected it. And they were engaged every single morning to that because they knew what their goals were. They were setting goals for themselves, not only the team goal, but their own personal goals. It's like, all right, well, my KPI for, my average job size is sucking right now. So I'm going to set a goal to get that improved today. Me and my teammate, or I'm not getting enough Google reviews. My return rate is really low. So we're going to set a goal to get this many Google reviews today. I got 5 jobs, so I'm going to shoot for 4 Google reviews so I can get that percentage up. That culture is, that's part of the culture is, having those standards set up for them and something that they can actually shoot for. They're not just workers and helpers, that come in. All right, you guys are riding together, get in the truck and here's your jobs, So that makes them workers and helpers, but this makes them part of the team. That makes them collaborate, and that creates that buy-in, and that's what creates that good culture.
And I like how you're reinforcing every day. They're tracking their numbers. They're thinking about them at the beginning of the day, and now the rest of the day they're going to be trying to beat them, and it comes like a competition. And I really like that.
And it becomes great competition, and everybody wants to outperform everybody else. And next thing you know, you got a whole army of top performers.
I like that. Russ, have you implemented anything like that? Or, do you have a different style where you go and kind of incentivize everybody on the team?
I am not Kevin. I'm just telling you right now. I don't have daily meetings. We don't do hoorahs. We don't do none of that shit. We come in at 8:00 and by 8:30 we're on the truck. I'd be like, listen, guys, this is what we're doing. These are yours. This is what you got. This is what you got. We're all going to be talking back and forth. I'm an extra guy. If you need help, let me know. Otherwise, I'm running dumpsters. Let me know what we're doing. And if they call and say we're full, I'll be like, I'm on my way. And I run and I go help them. The other team will be like, hey, I need help. I go over and help them. So if Kevin actually came and watched 1 month of the way I run my business, he'd be like, what the how the fuck is this working? Because we're tight. We're like extremely close family where we bicker and argue every day with each other and we'll shit talk each other. But as soon as they need help, we call each other and they're right there. So it's a completely different dynamic. We have all alpha males. There isn't any submissive men who are going to just sit by and just be like, okay, just tell me what to do. That's not. We're all highly opinionated. We're all very smart, and sometimes it doesn't always gel together. So we did one. Me and one guy got in an argument. I like right on site. I was pissed. We were taking down a 1-car garage in the back of this guy's yard. He wanted to do it one way. I wanted to do it another way. Ultimately, I said, fine, we'll do it your way, whatever. So we get all the way. We started with the roof. We started taking the roof off from the inside because it was 1x4s, slatted all the way up. So you could just pop them right off, and the roof was rotted. So it was real easy. So we're popping them off till we get to the top. Now, here's the problem that we had. Next to it, 2 feet to the left, was like a $3,500 aluminum and tarp wrapped like garage. So you couldn't push it. You couldn't push it one way because it was on a fence. You couldn't push it backwards because it was the back of the yard and it was going to hit another fence. Couldn't push it one way because it was going to hit this $3,500 structure. So you had to push it forward to get it on the ground. The walls were already bowed out. He wanted to push the top down, right? And I'm like, no, push it on the ground the way it is. We got in a big pissing match. And I was like, listen, it's my fucking job. It's my money that's going to have to pay that $3,500. You don't want me to be the one to fucking yell at you for it, do you? He's like, no. And I was like, my way, shut up. And that was about the most I did. So we did it my way. It dropped perfect. Nothing at all got ruined, right? Took us about, I don't know, I want to say like 3 hours to do that. And it was like $2,500. But what my concern was is that if you drop the roof in, the walls are going to bow out, and when the walls bow out, then it's going to hit the other structure, and that's what I was concerned about. We got a big pissing match about it, but ultimately, I was right and it worked. But I mean, I don't.
What I want to say this though. We get to see how there's two extreme differences, but both of you are finding success. So it's not always one way. It's what
Right.
worked for you and what culture you set for your business.
Agreed.
Yeah,
And I was going to say the other thing too is like with Kevin when he was talking about the meetings, the way that he does it and the way that you do it, I think when you run a $9 million junk business like he was doing and you have 40 people, 20 trucks.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, that's
have
a
to do that.
completely different way to run a business than 90% of the people that are doing what we do. Normally we're going to
We
have
need-
two guys and a helper.
We need systems in place to run big
Right.
amounts of people.
Yeah, when you're running 8-9 million, you have to have different managers taking care of different things and team leads and all that stuff. So yes, I completely agree. If I was at 8-9 million and I had that many people, I would also probably be doing the same thing Kevin did. But
Can
I'm
I
not
ask you
ever going
this,
to be there.
Russ? Can I ask you this? Do
Yeah.
you think that it would improve at all if you did put a little more structure in? And is that something that you're open to trying?
We've tried it, but see, I have a very simple rule with my guys, and I don't get very many problems to come my way because of this rule. And I believe 100% that the door should be open each way. And if they don't like something, they have every single right to bitch and gripe to me about it because it's ultimately them in the field that have to do it. So if I say I want it done this way and they try it and they go, this is fucking stupid, this isn't working, and the two of them get together, I know them well enough that they're not just teaming up on me to get it their way. They really understand that this is not working. And I ultimately almost all the time will let my guys make the rules and make the decisions and make the calls. But if there is a decision that has to be made, it's ultimately going to be my decision. But yeah, so I empower them to make a lot of decisions on their own. I don't want to micromanage. I don't want anybody to. I tell all my guys, listen, I will make a fucking decision. If it's the wrong decision, it's not the wrong decision. You learn from it. Okay. Now it's a teaching moment. No one ever is wrong when they learn something, right? So fail forward. I want you to make the decisions. Don't call me every single time you have a problem. I don't want you if that's the issue. I want you to go on your own and basically run the business as it was your own, you know? And that's the way I want them to do. You make the decision, you make the calls. If you fuck up, you're going to learn. You know what I mean? So I think empowering your team to make the decisions without micromanaging every decision is a huge one because no one wants to work for someone who has their thumb on them all the time. Tracking
All right,
GPSs.
hold on 1
all
second.
that
We're gonna bring everybody in the chat in, guys. I'm sorry, I've been ignoring the comments and all, so we're gonna be mindful of that. I want you guys to start asking questions as well. If you guys have any questions on any of these topics that we're on for Kevin or Russ, please just shoot them in the chat right now. Denise Lyon says, "This is what I have done in the past: lead with transparency, decentralized authority, celebrate wins, reflect and respect. What went well, what didn't, and action items. Then have people volunteer." I like that.
Yep.
Very well said, Denise.
Celebrating those
Boy?
wins are really important.
Yeah. And I think going out of their way for people when most bosses don't have to or won't, right? So I'll give you an example. My guy that's been with me for 11 years, he drinks a lot. And so his cousin passed away in Florida and he wasn't real financially in a good spot. And he was really upset about it. And he didn't have the money to go to Florida. So I paid for his trip to go and say goodbye to his cousin. You know what I mean? When they come to you and they're there and they know you have their back, like, look, go. It's family. Get out of here. I don't want to see you for 2 weeks. Just get the fuck out of here. We'll figure it out. And you pay them while they're gone and you do those little tiny things. Those little things add up way more than any pay raise.
They'll
You know?
never forget that, and they'll always have your back.
Yeah. And
Like a family.
I'll tell you this. My main guy, Mike, he has an attitude every day and he's a dick asshole almost every day. And In 5 years that he's been with me, he's called in one time. Conversely, in his previous job where he came from, he called in 3 to 4 times a month. So he knows I'm there for him, and I know he's there for me, even though we bicker like brothers and we don't always get along. But we're family. It is what it is.
Right, guys,
And
hold
stuff
on,
like that.
hold on. We're gonna bring on JT Junk Solutions. He's been sitting back for the last like 15, 20 minutes. I want to
Oh shit.
on there. And guys, like I said in the chat, just throw in those questions. And guys, on here, I'm gonna cut you off, Russ. I'm gonna cut off
No, go ahead.
because if any of the questions come up, we're gonna start getting the chat interacting
That's
with
fine.
us. That's the main thing we got to get going here.
Should I just hide in them?
What's up, JT Junk Solutions? Payne,
What's going
up,
on?
brother? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
What's up, brother?
Man, it's been a while since we've connected, man.
It's been a while. I want to say, Russ, sorry to hear what's going on with you, and also you, Paul, dealing with whatever drama it is. We have our fair share of drama. So, Kevin, good to see you, brother. I see you've been putting out a lot of good content on your Facebook. We do a really bad job of consuming everybody's content. So I miss a lot of stuff, but I see Kevin's stuff in my Facebook a lot. So let that stand.
So talk to us, brother. What's been going on over there, man? I see you've been doing big things. I see you got the NPR, and I think business has been taking off. I've been kind of out of junk removal industry. I've been so focused on my business and all, but want to catch up and hear where you're at and how things are going over there.
Yeah, things are going great. Effectively, depending on how you look at things, Jackie and I have been technically running 3 crews. So we found 2 companies that we really enjoy subbing work out to. And since we've gotten our lead channels honed in, we have so much work that Jackie and I just can't get to it. Typically, we have anywhere between 9 to 12 jobs a day. So, and one truck can't handle that. And to be completely honest with you, I did a 1 month of mentorship with Harry Bartman, and I got scared. I got scared to be dealing with what Russ is dealing with. So I went the easy route, and I just the extra jobs that I can't get to. I take a percentage from having the leads, and I have someone else go fulfill them. So that's where we're at right now. Today we did.
What's the plan moving forward? Are you going to keep doing that system, or are you going to eventually scale up and do handle everything on your own?
We're trying to scale up, because I think it'd be inappropriate for us to continue teaching people if we don't get through all the necessary steps of getting to the pinnacle of the business. So what I was going to say is today we onboarded our first person to handle calls for us in our schedule. And today he did his first run of having all the phone calls go to him. And his very first call, he booked the job, and we made $600 off of it. So it was a pretty.
So let me hear this. What systems do you have in place to make sure that he's doing great by, answering the phones and closing the deals? Are you recording the calls? What kind of training did you give him?
Yeah. So Jackie and I kind of wrote out the SOPs prior to doing any meetings with anybody. And then we interviewed a couple people. We liked him. So we decided to make the offer to him. And then the first day, Jackie just took basically an 8-hour workday to onboard him, teach him how to use Jobber, teach him how we handle calls, what objections he's going to have. He has his own script. And then they did practice runs. So Jackie and him would practice doing calls together, and then practice inputting jobs in Jobber, and that was it. And so, yeah, his calls are recorded. So we'll be able to know what kind of conversations are going on. So if there's ever a time we need to go in and look at the conversion rate and see if it's a sales problem or a lead problem, we can. And then, we're kind of playing it by ear right now, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of things you do as a business owner on autopilot, and that's what we're working through right now. So I want to get someone in the NPR, but like Russ said, we're going into slow season. It's not the best time to do that. So it's kind of better for us to continue subbing work out when we're too busy. And I think the plan is by next summer to have someone actually in the truck full time.
And now let me ask you, your funnel, is most of your jobs coming, the ones that you get a 9 to 12 from, is that all coming from Facebook, Nextdoor, and like that? Where's the most of them coming from?
Yeah. So like finally our SEO picked up traction. And then we got with a really good Google Ads guy. So now it's Google Ads and SEO. It's just between those two. I'm not putting any effort into doing cold lead generation through Facebook and Nextdoor right now. I'm sure you guys have noticed in our content, but most of our content is focused on the other business, which is the mentorship and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's where our main funnels are. Because for at least in my perspective right now, with Google, it's like the money for the leads. So I know that I pay this money, there's going to be phone calls. I know some phone calls are going to be good, some are going to be bad. As long as we're converting well and booking the jobs, it's a repeatable process that we can put on autopilot. Whereas Facebook and Nextdoor takes more effort and energy. And honestly, like the way that we like to do it to create leads takes a little bit more hands-on training that I just don't have the time for.
See, I'm confused right now, bro, because I'm like, I'm now witnessing what you guys were witnessing. You know, I'm getting all from Facebook and Nextdoor. So when you're telling me like you're going to Google Ad, I'm looking at you like, what are you, crazy, man? We finally found the way to not have to pay, and now all of a sudden you're going to pay. I just don't get that part of it.
Yeah, 100%. We've been really successful, and I'm in the time where I need to buy my time back. Okay. Just like full transparency, like the one-on-one.
You just got in here. Damn, you move fast, my man. Holy shit.
Full transparency, like the one-on-one mentorship, we're handling between 3 and 4 sales calls every single night. That's how many people are coming into us. So for me to go out and do junk removal from the beginning of the morning, work all day with Jackie, also having other crews to handle, because that takes mental bandwidth, because before we were answering those calls, booking them, saying, hey, what are you guys available for? Can you get to this job? Can you get to that? And then do all that all day long, and then get back by 5 o'clock so I can start our first sales call at 6. It was weighing on us.
Let me ask you, are you making more money coaching how to do junk removal than the junk removal?
No. Last month.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Last month we hit, we had 17,000 cash collected from coaching, a couple $1,000s in ebook sales, and then like 35,000 in junk removal. It was like 31, 32 with some net 30s that still need to be collected. So we actually had a dip in our revenue, which made me really uncomfortable, which made me realize like I need to start hiring people so that I can stay consistent. I'm trying to stay consistent. I would really like to stay at like 40K months, but it's really, really hard. So
how are you going about finding your employees? Like, where are you looking, and what's your plan for like training and all that? Because I'm kind of in that same boat, man. I think it's time. I need to start getting an employee and all. So I'm interested to find out how you're going about that.
Yeah. So to be completely honest, for the phone stuff, we outsourced to a VA in Spain, and we prioritize finding someone with good English, and I wanted the dollar hourly rate to make sense for that replacement. I would love to pay someone $15 an hour stateside to do it, but it's just really kind of tough for us to let go of that money. So we found someone in Spain, and the training process was like really loose, like by our pants. Like we were just kind of figuring out what is it that we do every single day? How do we do this? And we tried to write it all out, and then kind of walk through. And then his questions that he would prompt us with would be like, oh yeah, if this happens, yada, yada, yada kind of thing. And then we add it to our document so that he can reference back to it.
Russ, what's your thoughts, man, on everything? Is there any tips that you could have for JT Junk Solutions? Because it seems like they've graduated to the next level now. You know, now
slow down. You're going to burn the fuck out, and you're going to hate it. I'm telling you right now. You're going to come home. People are going to start bothering you during the day. You're going to come home. You're going to look and be like, I've already worked fucking 10 hours, and now I got to sit here and listen to someone who doesn't even fucking do what I ask him to do. And you got to sit there and listen to them, and they bitch and piss and moan, and you're just like, shut the fuck up. And then by the time you get to the third one, you're just like, I can't fucking do it. And then, you have a different approach than I do because I don't make a lot of content. So you have time, unless you're just sending videos off to someone to have them edit it. I don't know how you are editing all the videos, doing all the work during the day, coming home, coaching people, and still having any type of life with your wife. It's great now because you're new, you're young, and I get it. You guys are like, you're gung ho.
Yeah.
You're gonna smack a fucking wall in probably about 6 months, and you're gonna start to really dislike where you've gotten.
Yeah.
That's just from what what's happened to me.
Yeah.
And you'll look back and say, I wish I didn't get into this. And because you feel guilty because you can't get to everybody.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can do. And I know when I first met you, you said time was important for you and Jackie.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have it. It's going to be 7 days a week. And you're just going to be like, oh my God, fuck. And
so Russ, that's exactly, guys, what I just went through. And now you guys see why I backed off from the junk removal industry, because I was putting so much time into that. And I had to look at myself and say, all right, where am I making money and where am I not? That has to be eliminated. And the junk removal industry was the first thing that I seen some slack that I could get rid of. But still, I'm going to still stay connected and all, but I can't be focusing there. I got too much other focus in other places that's got to go. And we're down to the seconds to the day now. You know what I mean? Like every second is spoken for. So I got to really reevaluate everything. So I like how you, JT, found a new solution with the whole, outsourcing. That was interesting to me. I never thought of that. What is your guys' thoughts on that? Kevin, what's your thoughts on that?
That's something I know that Matt Fitch was pushing a lot and trying to get a lot of people to do it because he was doing it for a long time. You got to do what you got to do. I'm all about, I'm probably the opposite of both of you guys. I would rather scale up when it comes to that point. If you're going to start putting together those SOPs and those processes and those systems in place, if you're getting that busy, then it's probably time to scale up. But going back to Russ's point, coming up on a slow season is not a great time to try to scale up.
Yeah.
So, you got to think of it that way. But when it does come time to scale up too, so you don't have to let people go when the slow season comes, always try to find, summer guys. What I used to do is I used to recruit from the rugby team at one of these local colleges. And so here I got these big, strong, well-disciplined dudes, these big old Samoan guys, just a bunch of guys, probably the best workers I ever had. And, we could have them all summer and have 10, 15 of them. And then as the slow season comes down, instead of letting people go, they would go back to school.
Yeah.
So it was a really good fit for us. But, you always, at the same time, you're going to be scaling up enough that you can still hire those full-time guys. You have your truck and trailer, you have your NPR now. Sooner or later, you're going to want to, in order to scale up and do the other stuff, you're going to want to step back.
Yeah.
And I also want to all the time too. So now's the good time to start putting that training process into place. Start documenting everything, putting that training process, getting that training down pat so that you can make other Tanners, other Jackies, and, start, that way. Because a lot of people, where they fail is their ego keeps them from ever getting off the truck because they don't think anybody else can do it as good as they can.
Yeah.
I see a lot of junk removal companies do that. So they always plateau because of it. So you want to start getting that training process in place now so that when it is time to scale, you're ready to go. I told you the same thing, Paul, before, start getting that ready. So when you are ready to start scaling up, start hiring new people, that's it. That process is already there in place. So
I want to say this, Kevin. I actually, this week, I'm starting making my list of, I want to start with checklists of what I'm going to do every day, on the truck. And I told Nicole, we're just going to do everything that we expect employees. So by the time we go and get the employees, it's just going to be habit to us. You know what I mean? So that's why I really want to dive into that transition and, you know, the SOPs that you guys are using and any kind of tips that we could get for it. But I also, before we get into that, I want to ask JT, what is your goal with junk removal? Are you trying to build a brand right now? You know, what is the overall goal?
Yeah. Well, I will say that I believe that our brand is built. I think JT Junk Solutions is becoming more well known as a junk removal company than anyone can really say. That's based off of that. I mean, we do 10 million views a month across platforms. That's just the objective truth. My goal is to become the next big player. So I really appreciate the advice from Kevin and from Russ, because at the end of the day, like, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. And in order for us to be a big player amongst basically 1-800 and either college hunks or junk luggers, whoever you put as the second spot, I just feel like no one's really touched 1-800. That's just the truth. Because college hunks, if you look at them by revenue, their revenue comes from moving. It doesn't come from junk removal. So it's, it's junk luggers next, and no one's really touching 1-800. So it's how do we create a brand that rivals 1-800 and everything they do. And that's like a 10, 15-year plan, maybe 20-year plan. One of the things that I'm being slow, the reason why I'm being slow about hiring someone for the truck is because I want someone who's invested in the brand and the future of the brand. So when I hire for my first, part-time helper for the truck, I wanted someone that wants to be the general manager of Austin in the next, couple years, or someone that wants to open up their own location somewhere else. So I'm going to be a little bit meticulous about who I bring on, because I don't want to make the mistake of hiring someone that's just going to be around for the summer. And that's probably I'm just going to say it's probably a naive statement from me right this second, because I'm not doing that, but that's my ambition, my goal. So,
hold on one second. I got to ask you this my question is with your brand, how is it though you're sending subcontracting your business out? That's the only thing I have a problem with, because if it's your brand, I feel like it has to be everything. You know what I mean? It has to be your truck pulling up, the uniforms, all that. I think you're just like kind of confusing people with the subcontracting thing.
Yeah. I mean, that might be the way. So kind of like the Facebook and Nextdoor before we talked about it, and I showed you that. Your perception of it, it might be confusing, but the truth is that all my customers love it, and I haven't had one single complaint. You have to be very particular about who goes out. And yeah, it's like, if they show up with their brand and their company, it can be confusing, but eventually my goal is to have like basically like a VSL or a video like sales letter that goes out to all my customers automatically when I sub work out, like with the message that says, hey, so-and-so is scheduled for your job. And then I'm going to film a VSL with all my guys that subcontract under us to say, hey, I'm so-and-so with this company. I handle work for JT Junk Solutions. When they can't, we look forward to servicing your family. And what I like about the subcontracting is I've given 17 jobs out this month as of today. That's pretty cool to be able to put work on someone else's plate and allow them to work. Because otherwise, like if that lead just came to me, I could have booked it and just did it in the future of the month. I could do it at a further date, or they go out and find someone else. But I'm bringing the work to other haulers that I trust. So that's why I like it, like how I run it.
And I got to say one thing, JT, you didn't show me Facebook and Nextdoor, brother. I built my brand Paul Italia from Facebook from 20 years ago, brother.
Yeah. No, I meant when we were discussing like the social media stuff.
Okay, but that's always been my strong point my whole life, bro.
100%.
So, what is your thoughts, Kevin? I want to ask you this, man. What is some tips that you could give me? Because I love like your style and things, and I love like the way that you go with the whole like hunting the junk when you're there, the original phone call before, the half an hour before, and you ask them if they want a snack or a drink or anything. What's some other tips that you could give us that goes along with that amazing 5-star customer service that Kevin Hess always delivers?
Yeah, I mean, it's all down to the building rapport process. when you're dealing with customers, we talked about this a lot. You have two different kinds of reports when you're talking to customers. You have the relational rapport. You're going to start building a relationship with that customer, start building that trust long before you ever talk about junk. You're going in there, you're making small talk, you're doing that. Then you dive into relevant rapport, where you're finding out why they're getting rid of the junk. And to me, that part is really important, because typically a customer calls you for one of three reasons: either time, space, or effort. So, maybe they don't have the time to do it. They got a busy schedule, kids, soccer practice, whatever. They don't have time to do it, So you're going in there and you're not selling, you're not being straight transactional and selling them the service. You're selling them a solution. You find out why they're getting rid of the junk. Maybe they need their space back. Maybe their wife just got a new car, wants to park it in the garage, but they're storing a bunch of crap in there. If you find out during that rapport why they're getting rid of that junk, instead of saying, okay, well, you got this much junk, it's going to cost this much, and then wait for them to say yes or no, you're telling them, okay, so it's going to, it's this much, it's going to cost you this much, and we're going to get you that, we're going to clear out everything out of this space and get you your space back. The same thing with effort. Maybe it's a divorced single mother, or an elderly couple, and they got a bunch of big heavy furniture. Your solution to them is going to be, hey, we got two strong guys here, and we're going to take care of that for you. So you got to focus on why they're getting rid of the junk, so that you can offer them a solution, not just a transaction.
I like that.
Listen, that's the other thing. Listen to what they're telling you. I just did this with my nephew. We were just talking, and I said, when you get an estate phone call, it typically goes like this: "Oh, thank you for calling A+, blah blah blah." Yeah, I was wondering, can you come and clean out an apartment? My mom just passed away, and I need to. I immediately interject. Immediately, I don't even let them finish. They say something. My mom passed away, and I'm listen. I'm really sorry. I lost my mom a couple years ago. I know it sucks. I'm really, really sorry. My condolences to you and your family. We'll help you through it. Now it's not. I'm empathetic to them. I'm on their side. I'm here for you. I'm not here for my pocket. You know what I mean? And the stories that you listen to, you have to be able to become one with them and understand them. And if you can, you'll sell way more. People buy from people they like. It's that simple. If they don't like you, they will not buy from you. You could be free, and God Junk could be $1 million, and they'll buy from Kevin because they like him versus me. And they might like JT versus Kevin, or Paul versus me. You know what I mean? Everybody has a different personality that they gravitate towards, and you have to figure out what their personality is in a very, very short period of time. And you guys are talking about hiring. My suggestion to everybody when it comes to hiring is, I told Paul this too, and JT, I'll tell you too. First person you're going to get rid of is your wife. They're off the truck, right? None of us want our wives getting hurt, number one. Two, my wife rides with me, and there's a negative connotation. I'm sure you guys have also had people looking like, oh, you guys are going to do this. Maybe not with JT, because he can pick up a bus, but with other people, they might, or with Paul. But like with me, I'm not as big as them. And so when I show up with my wife, they look at me, and my best guy is 140 pounds. And it's the fucking strongest 140-pound guy I've ever seen. My wife is bigger than him. And like, fuck, they see him and they're like, can you do this? And they kill it, But look at bartenders and anybody in the restaurant business. It's my number one thing for you. Why? Because if you can find a server that works at night, or a bartender that works at night, that means that they have time during the day if they're not in school. A lot of guys will want to make extra money on the side. They don't want to take over their night.
There's one thing I got to say though, Russ, about there's two sides to that with the wife thing. I get it, because I do want to get the wife off the truck and everything. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm loving the strength that we're getting from it. It's the connection, right. It's the trust. It's she connects with the ladies right away. They feel safer right away. They let us into their house, where you could tell when you first get there with junk removal, a lot of times they'll have the stuff outside. They don't want you coming in the house. Once they see us, and most of the time they know us before from social media and everything, the trust is there right away. So I want to ask JT this, because he's making a transition, and I want to hear, how is it different? Because I know when I'm experiencing this. I'm like the cool couple in around the community. We're like celebrities. We go around. When I get a job from somewhere else that's not from one of those platforms where they actually don't know us, I could feel it right away. Soon as I get to that spot, it's like the customer looks at us kind of like the car mechanic, where they kind of look at us as like kind of a weasel. They're expecting us to try getting them on like extra money. So they're like on guard. Where when they come and they already know me and they've been following us on social media, it's not like that at all. They are so excited. There's no question about price. Whatever I say, they already made up their mind that they're going to hire us. So I assume, JT, you guys been experiencing that like tenfold. Now that they're coming in through Google and the people don't know you, what's the difference in the interactions?
So one thing before JT answers that, the reason I said get my wife off the truck first, let me ask you this, Paul. You don't know me from nowhere. You're going to put me in a truck with your wife while you're doing something else? You would never put a strange man in the truck with your wife to drive around. So that's why I said you get your wife off the truck first, because now you can put another guy in the truck with you that you can train, that now your wife can come around later. But I would never, my wife can take care of herself, but I would just never want another man that close to my wife for 8 hours a day without me there knowing what he's like. That's why I said get her off. Get her off. That's why I said get her off the truck first. The other reason is because women are better salespeople and they can get through doors better than guys can. So Jackie is a beautiful girl. If she gets off the truck, now Jackie can go in with her truck, start going into all of the elderly communities, all of the real estate agents, because they're going to listen to her. Most real estate agents are women. They're going to listen to the women talk to women because the hen house stays together. When a man comes up and starts talking to a group of women, there's just a different dynamic there than there is if a woman is talking to a group of women. That's just my opinion. It could be right or wrong, but that's just my opinion. And then you're going to train the other guy to take the lead for the next person that he's now going to train. You know what I mean? That's just the way I look at it. But anyway, go ahead, JT.
No, I agree. Jackie wanted to correct you, Russ. She is a woman.
I did say.
My problem.
Did I say man?
Yeah. No.
No, she's a woman.
My problem with this woman is she doesn't want off the truck because she likes to work. As you,
my wife does too. She's the same way. They're identical.
Yeah, we're having fun. We're just having so much fun with it, you know.
Yeah, and I think this conversation is funny because I think it's very apparent, like the different dynamics of everybody's business and the way that they look at things. I agree, Paul. Like, if I get leads that come from Instagram or Facebook that have been following us for a long time, which we do all the time. Cool note: this month we got to do 2 jails. I never thought I would do junk removal at a jail, and do you know where they found us? TikTok.
Oh, wow.
What? And that was like the first real jobs that we got from TikTok. So I thought that was cool.
What kind of junk do you take from the jails? And is it like weekly or like?
No, this was just, they're like end of fiscal budget. And they're
spend
like,
it.
Yeah, they wanted to spend it. And they actually had a guy that used to do it, but he couldn't make the job. So they had us out, and it was just like wood pallets, plastic food pallets, food. We did washers and dryers from another one because it was like the end of, like when you're transferring out of jail, like you're still in jail, but not, I don't know. I don't understand it. It's just like more of a transitional home area.
Halfway house kind of?
Yeah, like almost like a halfway house, but it wasn't, they were still in jail. So I don't know. It was weird. But yeah, definitely. If I get someone come from social media, they're very bought into who we are and what we're doing, and they're paying to work with us just because they like us. That's the truth. And I told you guys that from the beginning. That's what I've been preaching since the very first time you ever had us on. Like, the power of social media, if it's utilized in the right way, it can bring you a lot of great leads. But it's a great conversion tool, because when people look at your content and they feel like they know who you are, and then you show up and you are that person, it's automatic buy-in. Now, I will say from Google, it's still the same vibe. It's probably just based off the way our website's set up. But also, if you look at JT Junk Solutions on Google, like all our content pops up too. So I don't know if they're pre-looking into our stuff, but I typically, as soon as I'm on site, I'm shaking hands and I'm like learning about them and why I'm there in the first place, kind of like Kevin was talking about. That's just like a typical sales like role, and I want to get to know the people and why I'm taking care of them. So I don't get any pushback. I can definitely, I guess, say that they are on guard, but I just never really think about it. It doesn't bother me,
You don't come across as salesy. You know what I mean? It's in your nature. It's just, and you'll see people like that. They just have the ability to talk, and they just enjoy talking to people, and they can get what they want out of people by just talking to them and asking them, and using just psychology about them, repeating what they're saying, and let them keep talking. There's a lot of psychology that goes into sales and everything, but there's just some people like JT, myself, probably Kevin. You're just good at like, hey, I'm here to help you. Like, what is it? You called me. What is it you need me to do? You know what I mean?
I'm very assertive. Like when I get to a job, like you call me, so I assume that you're comfortable with me being here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's why I always push a customer service culture over a sales culture, just because relating to people is what people hate salesmen. I hate salesmen. I suck at sales, but I can close almost every single job because I'm relating to them, and I'm building that trust with them. And just, it's to me, it's all about the customer service.
Yeah.
Not just giving them a sales pitch.
Yeah. Sales is very transactional. 1-800 in our area, they're struggling right now. Like they're busy, but like they're losing a lot of jobs to us. And I only know because I always ask on like my commercial jobs, like who came in and bid, what did they bid at, where were we at? Just so I know that we're not undercutting people or doing anything like that. And 1-800-JUNK's been losing a lot of jobs to us. And I feel like it's because I would assume they train on the sales aspect on most companies, and they're worried about the transactions and daily revenue versus being with.
That'll probably change here shortly, because the company that just took over the Austin location, which is close to where you're at, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. The company that does that is actually using my training now. So they're bringing some people, and that's going to change a lot there in that Austin area, the way they conduct it. Because they don't believe in the transactional. They believe in the relational part of it.
Yeah.
Which is why I train, because they use that business a lot of their businesses use my training that I developed.
Nice. Yeah.
So that location, they just took over that location recently. I think they took over Houston as well. So they're going to be bringing in a really good leadership, and a lot of that's going to change.
That's good. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's people want to do business with people. Like that is like kind of a culture shift that's happening. Like there used to be a lot of trust in businesses. And there's been a switch in the last like 4 or 5 years. So now I feel like people have to understand you have to build the personal brand and you have to build the business brand separately. But at some point in time, your goal is to get these things to align. If you guys are into that kind of stuff, like Alex Hermosi is a good example. Alex Hermosi worked on his personal brand for a very, very long time. And then when he sold off his businesses and he moved into acquisition.com, he started building the brand. And now those things are combined where, I don't know if you guys saw his last drop. He sold $100 million worth of books in one sitting, in one call, broke a bunch of Guinness World Records.
Did you see about that?
What's that?
Did you see about that thing that he did with that?
No, I don't know.
So there was a guy that was on Reddit that bought that book.
Yeah.
And it was all written on ChatGPT in 6 hours. The entire thing was done on ChatGPT, and it literally said it has all of the prompts in it and everything that he told it to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
it's amazing.
But he still did it.
Yeah. And it's because of the way he connects with the people and the value that he brings to them. So at the end of the day, like the delivery doesn't need to be over the top. It's just the trust that people build.
You're buying the connection you have with that person. That's what you're buying. You're buying the feeling that the person's giving you, more than when it comes to like Hormozy and those, Andy Elliott and all those other ones. You're buying the feeling of that, you know what I mean? Because I connect with that person and I understand that person. And that's more in sales than anything else. That's why you can sell against franchises if if you're just an authentic, genuine person. And I've lost jobs. I tell people where to take stuff for free. I'll tell you where to take paint. I'll tell you where to take TVs. I'll tell you how to get rid of it for free. I'm not, and I tell everybody this, and it's a line that I tell a lot of people, and it's like, I'm not in the business of taking people's money that I don't need to. This is something you can do yourself. I will tell you how to do it. If you choose not to do it that way, then yes, I will help you. But this is a free option for you, or this is a separate option for you. And a lot of times it's because I just don't want, I don't want the hassle, more or less. You know what I mean? So you're trying to be the nice guy, and then that takes their guard down. And now they're like, all right, you're not an asshole. Like, you're not just out to take my money. And I tell them up front, like, I'm not here to take your money if I don't have to. If you need help, I'm here to help you. But if it's something that you can do yourself, I'll tell you how to get rid of it. I've lost jobs to literally
Hold
charities.
on. I want to make a pivot here. I want to change this real quick. I want to go into this is going to be the last topic. I want to go into the CRMs, because we got a couple different guys on here that use different CRMs, and I've been really trying to find out, like, really what the best one is, and I haven't had anybody that's kind of seen them all. So I want to figure out, which ones are you guys using first off? So Russ, which one are you using right now?
So here's what I'll say. I know JT's in with Jobber. The company that I now work with has Jobber. I have House Call Pro. I use House Call Pro religiously. I have for 5 years, and I've used Jobber now for 2 weeks. I utterly fucking cannot stand Jobber. I don't know how the fuck this thing works. I don't know if it's because I've been on one for 5 years that it's hard to switch to both, or if the interface is so hard to figure out. But the way that they do things, where in House Call you can job tag, where you can actually put in, like, this job is a previous customer, new customer, residential, commercial, hot tub, shed, whatever. In Jobber, from what I've limited, and I'm limited, so I can't say this, but from what I've seen is you can only do customer tags. You can't do job tags. So you can't do like a customer tag of new and then previous. It's always just one. So when you're trying to run reports and you're trying to figure out, okay, how much is my previous customers this year versus how much is my new customers? If I spent $50,000 in advertising, how many new customers did I get in versus what came in previously? I can't figure out how to do that. Now, he's not on the Granddaddy Mac $300 a month one. I'm on the $300 a month House Call plan, and I can pull it by zip code. I can pull it by previous customer. I can do a job tag run, so I know how much is new, how much is old, where is it in Florida, what have I done in Florida, what's tax exempt, to make it easier when I have to pull my tax exempt reports to do sales tax. So for me, using just House Call and Jobber, hands down House Call. That's just me. And I'm sure JT probably has the Granddaddy version, so it has a lot more features than what I have, because I think we're on like the $129 plan or whatever he was doing. So I know it doesn't have the reporting features, but there's no job tagging features in any of it. And that for me is like, that's a big deal.
Any of them have GPS tracker, like where the client gets to see you on the way and everything? So Jobber has that?
Jobber has tracking for your crews, and you can send out automated messages to let people know you're on the way. But I don't know that they could like track where your truck is.
Yeah, it's probably not like Uber. Where's my Uber car coming from? It probably doesn't.
I don't know that any of the CRMs do that. I've used House Call. I liked House Call a lot. I agree with Russ. The user. So when we get into CRMs, right? For me personally, I think the user interface on any software, it plays the biggest role of like how well it gets used. I will say House Call is probably the simplest. I have looked at Autopilot and used Autopilot. I've used House Call and worked with House Call. I've tried using HubSpot. I've tried using QuickBooks, and we're on Jobber. Everyone, here's the announcement. We are brand partners with Jobber. We get paid to use Jobber. But what I will say is, between House Call and Jobber, I love Jobber, actually. Like, I was genuinely surprised that I liked transitioning over to it. It just, what I tell people always is you have to make sure that it works for your business. If it works for your business and it makes sense, use that. because that's what a CRM is supposed to make things easier. If you
Right.
log into Jobber, like if you guys hit our link and get a free trial and you log into Jobber and you're like, I don't fucking understand this and I don't want to use it, then don't use it. Like it's not supposed to create resistance. It's supposed to make it easier.
And I think everybody has different technical abilities. So it's clear that JT is probably way more technical than I am. So he would probably gravitate towards something that is more techish. I'm gravitating towards I'm fucking old, senile, and make it quick and easy and get it over with. I got too much shit to do. So I think just different personalities alone will pick different CRMs. It really just depends.
What you have both household and you also have autopilot. So what does household have that autopilot doesn't, or what does autopilot have that household doesn't?
Who, me?
Yes, Russ.
I don't have autopilot.
Okay.
I've used autopilot is very similar to house call. I think it's about the same stuff. It's not a house or autopilot's not a bad CRM for what I've seen. I have seen a lot of reports from people that use it that said there was a lot of bugs, but that's common with software when it's getting started, right? So I'm not.
So what does Jobber have that autopilot in household? Like what is the strengths, the pros that make it worth it?
Yeah, so I think for Jobber, a lot of it comes down to the branding and the user interface and the way that you can interact with your customers. I didn't use autopilot enough to tell you what the strengths are. You would have to Andrew would have to put out a list of what autopilot does for me to compare it to a list of what Jobber does. Because here's the truth. I have the best plan that they offer on Jobber. And there are so many features. There are features that I do not use.
Yeah.
So
same with house call.
I am not the subject matter expert when it comes to CRM. I'm just very much of the mindset of like, if it makes sense for your business and it does everything that you want it to do, then use it. So I'll tell you how I use Jobber. We schedule our appointments there. We send out notices to let people know when we're on the way. They have their own personal hub so they can see all the jobs that we've done for them. So like if it's a repeat customer, they have their own profile where they can log in and see, oh, I paid this for this much. I did this. I did that. I send my invoices from there, which automatically prompt a tip right when it opens up. So I send my invoice. I don't stick a card reaper. I don't do this to people.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I fucking hate it. So I don't do that. I send invoices. They get payment reminders. It automatically sends out when the job's completed, sends a Google review link every time a job's done. And then I use the marketing suite. So every 30 days, I blast out an email or a text message campaign or both and get extra jobs in. And that's it. It's just a centralized area for all my customers to be so that I can market to them and sell to them.
For the most part, I do everything that you said through autopilot. It pretty much has that, except with the interface. I don't think that the client could go in like a portal or anything like that. But for the most part, everything
house call doesn't either.
Yeah, so I kind of I'm pretty happy with autopilot. I was just worried that there was stuff that I was missing or something that would make sense for me to get into now. Just like as Kevin always says, you want to put your systems in place now for scaling, and that's my plan, is to scale. So I don't want to find out down the road that autopilot's not made to handle a larger business, but it seems like it pretty much is everything Household Pro has.
I would strongly recommend everyone look into Jobber as a brand and a company and what they're doing. You know why I really love Jobber is because their values and the way that they market completely align with us. They focus on businesses and they empower businesses to grow. And they do that by paying guys that do content to market for them. Mm-hmm. I love that. That 100% aligns with our brand. So it just makes sense. We were going to do something with autopilot. Andrew didn't follow through, and that's why we're with Jobber.
Shocking. Yeah, the only thing I'd say too about any of the house or any of the CRMs, and I don't know, because there's a big discrepancy between the average job sales on your CRMs and what's in QuickBooks. It's drastically different. Yeah. And I think what happens is, and I don't care which software it is, I don't know about Jobber, but HouseCall does this, is that it takes your estimates and I believe it counts them as zeros. towards your overall sales. So when you look at your CRMs and you see, 285 to 300, but then you go look at QuickBooks and you see, look, it's $465. There's a reason in there. So that's the only thing that I don't like about House Call. I don't know if Jobber does. It sounds like it does. My guess is they all do that. But I think they should change that to finished job. Like whatever job is finished with a dollar amount, that should be your average job size, not, oh, I went and did an estimate for Mary and never got back to me, so that shouldn't be a 0. You know what I mean? Estimates should not count towards the average job size on those. And that's the one downfall I see on both of them.
Yeah, I think the expense tracking on a lot of them are just, or the job, like the overall tracking of numbers can be kind of off. And I still use Google Sheets to really track everything, and QuickBooks. At the end of the day, if I want to know my average job size, I look at the revenue that came in and how many jobs we did, and there we go.
Yeah, we look at QuickBooks. We don't look at the other stuff because, like I said, it skews it. Jobs are counted as estimates in there, and it really fucks the whole numbers up. So when I look at QuickBooks, I know, okay, we did 100 jobs at 50,000, so it was $500 or whatever.
William, what were you saying bingo to? I want to know what the bingo was. And Russ, what are you paying for House Call Pro?
$299.
That's the pro level.
Yeah, it's $3,600 a year.
Okay, Tanner, what
Jobber's
is
about the same thing. I just looked at the plan yesterday because the other guy has it, so I was trying to figure out which one's better.
What's the entry level on the Jobber?
If you get the very entry level plan and you don't use our discount code, I think it's under 50. And then
I think it was 60. I was using it. It was 60.
Yeah, and then 20% off. People get like $40 a membership. So,
and that's one user. So that's great if you're just like you and your wife or single owner operator. I'm sure all of them do a free trial, but I do like that Jobber gives people a free trial and allows them to do that as well. Because again, it's like comes down to the user interface. If you're confused on it, you're just not going to use it. Yeah.
That's it.
I know what's easy for me isn't easy for Tanner. You know what I mean? So everybody's completely different personality wise and tech wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really spoiled with the CRM and FSM that we had with 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We used that for years. It was something they spent millions and millions and millions of dollars developing. So when I was looking for a CRM, I was really, really picky. I did a free trial of House Call Pro. I didn't really like it that much. I did Jobber for probably about 6 months and I couldn't stand it, to be honest with you. But then, I started, that's when Autopilot was finally coming out. And, I was expecting that a lot of the things on Autopilot that I was going to actually come in and like, all right, well, this is my suggestion because I'm used to doing this. Like I said, I'm spoiled. You could do this, you could do this, you can do this, you can do this. But when I got on it, I was actually surprised that it already had a lot of that stuff already done. So, to me, it was really good. Plus some of the things that are still coming out in development that is coming in the future, I think is going to make it really, really amazing. It's really easy to use. The reporting is really good. It's going to get better. There's going to be a lot more stuff added to it. But like I said, that's my opinion. I'm not an investor in Autopilot or anything like that.
No, I'm gonna back you up on that, Kevin, though, because now the only thing that I was nervous about was I didn't know if I was missing out, because this was the only CRM I've ever used was Autopilot from day one. So, you really don't know what the others have to offer and everything. So just this conversation, I've been waiting to have this conversation with people that have seen them all. And this is the first time I've got you guys on, and it just hit me. And I'm like, finally got an answer. So after hearing everything, Autopilot, everything they've said I could do on Autopilot, and I'm happy with it. And everybody says, the clients all say, wow, you really stand out. How, you announce you're coming, with the right after service, we send the receipt over there. And I mean, it looked official. Like, they were feeling the system.
Yeah. And with to me, with Jobber, it was more just a CRM. Whereas Autopilot also has the field service management. I'm pretty sure like House Call Pro has a lot of that.
They do.
Those, so to me, that is an important aspect of it, especially if you're going to scale to a point where you have an operations manager, or you're the operations manager for your business, having a visual of everything that's going on your schedule, where your truck teams are. You can see what's going on just, from the truck team actually using the mobile part of it. And, you can know everything at a glance just by doing that. So the field service management part of it to me is also really important. The reporting is a huge deal to me as well, because I'm a report nut. I love spreadsheets. I love reporting, because I can see everything at a glance. I know what's going on with the business. So for me, that part was also important. It still needs a few more, but like there's stuff they're working on is still new. The fact that
can you give us
all of that is
some suggestions?
boxes.
Give us some suggestions right now of what you would want to add on to that.
I would want to see, it's got the average, you can see at a glance right there on the dashboard, the average job size. Let me pull it up and kind of.
Yeah, I love how the numbers report, because I check it all the time. It's so
there's,
quick.
It's got a lot of the sales. It's got your, sales, your collected payments, your jobs completed. It shows you your new clients. It shows you the average job size. It shows you your cancellation rate. It shows you how many new leads, how many are repeat customers. It shows you what the payment types, if you're getting all, this amount in credit card, this amount of checks, this amount of cash. It's got a lot of really good reporting. It'll let you know the jobs by lead source, whether you get it from Facebook, Google, Nextdoor, referrals, repeat customers. It tells you, you can customize the, what Russ was talking about, the types of jobs, tagging the different types. You can customize that yourself. There's a lot of it you can customize to the way you want to do it. Not everybody does it the same. So the fact that you can customize the numbers you want, the different things, it'll show you your ad spend. You can connect it. It'll show you the sales earned from those ads. It'll show you your customer acquisition costs. Not only that, you can also use it for your employees to clock in and clock out. You can track payroll through it. You can do all your invoices. You can do all, and it also has estimates. You can track your estimates so that you can follow up with them as well. But no, it doesn't have a GPS tracker.
So that's something we want added on
well,
there.
most CRMs are not going to have that. That you're going to need a totally different system like Samsara or Verizon Connect. There's a lot of business out there that does that. There's, the CRMs typically are not going to have that.
The one thing that either one of those,
it would be great if they did.
The only thing that I would say is that the only thing that I would ask that any CRM do is have a COGS based spreadsheet built into it, so that your guys at the end of the day can put in their numbers, what they did in sales, what their dump fees were, what their things, their gas receipts were, any maintenance that they had to do, stuff like that, and costs that they could put in so you guys could track their COG numbers. But other than that, now just for the record, I'm not making this recommendation for any one person specifically. So if all of a sudden in 3 months this automatically new COG calculator spreadsheet shows up in autopilot, I'm going to come and get my fucking royalty. How's that? Motherfucker.
I already trust me. I already suggested that to him.
Yeah,
I already
okay.
suggested the COG calculator.
Yeah.
Lawyer. I love it.
Oh, and of course you got John on here. COGS is king.
Yeah.
John knows he loves his COGS, but that's something I have suggested is, having the COGS calculator in there. That way, like I said, you want to be able, if you're not on the truck and you have a team out there, you want to be able to see everything, through this dashboard. You want to see everything that's going on just by looking at this, not only the reporting, but also the field service management, knowing what your team is doing at all times. You can see just by a glance, and it changes colors once you change it. If they're on their way, it's one color. If they're on site, it shows a different color. If the job is completed and paid for, it's a different color. I can look at this, I could pull up the schedule and I know everything that's happening at that point just by looking at it, and it's color coordinated. So you're just looking at the color.
That's assuming that they click the buttons. My guys don't like to do that. My guys will not click the buttons finished, because they know if they do, and it's too early in the day, we're going to try to add on. And if they don't want add-ons, they just won't fucking click the button finish. So we're like, what the fuck is, okay, you're still in the 2-hour window. You must be all right. But they don't click it finish just so that they don't have to do add-ons.
Yeah. But I will say,
but then I'm like, it was paid an hour ago, you dumb fuck. Look at it. It says paid, you idiot. I know you're done with it.
Yeah. And I love the part about having the estimates at a glance too, that, if they didn't cancel, you went out there just to do an estimate and everything. I can look at the estimates and I can follow up with them, and it'll let me know, and it'll give you reminders, and it's to me, it's got a lot of the things that I had it with 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So to me, that was really important because it's not just home services focused, it's junk removal focused. For now. It's going to be geared more towards home services later.
Let me answer this question right here, because I just brought Nicole up to ask her. From Derek Ocho, he says, does Autopilot let you customize the layout of your estimates and invoices? Not a fan of house call invoice layout. Yes, you can customize them. She puts our logo on every invoice and looks really, really good. So you could customize them the exact way you want it. Cogs is king.
Okay, so Paul, while you have Nicole there, I want to go back to what they were talking about before about having husband, wives, and having, your partner and everything else. Nicole is actually your biggest weapon out there because she studies my training and she does a good job at it. So that's why I wanted to bring that up earlier.
Yeah, shut up.
I would love to sit on all night. I told my wife I would be on here for an hour. It's now been an hour and a half. I'm not pissing off my wife anymore. I love all of you guys. I wish you all the best. We should do this again sometime, but my time for this evening is over because I'm going to go hang out with my wife.
Good seeing you, Russ.
Yep, you too, guys. If you guys need anything, let me know.
Yeah, same to you, bud.
All right, guys.
Uh-oh.
Can't hear you, Paul.
Yeah, we lost you for a second. I thought it was me.
Okay, so Nicole's here and she can hear now because we had to shut off.
Okay. What I was talking about, because Nicole, they were talking about having their, husbands and wives, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, on the truck with them and everything else. I told Paul that you are probably his biggest weapon out there because you actually pay attention and study my training.
Yeah, we do.
Yes,
100%.
especially you, because you actually, he told me that you actually love to follow through with it and do it. So
well, every day in the truck, man, we're listening to it and we're putting it right into action and we're seeing all the fruitfulness from it, like all the time, and we're getting praises like nonstop.
Did you tell him about the lady today?
With what?
With the coffee and how she loved that?
Oh yeah. Well, don't give out all our secrets
Okay.
and all that. Yeah, we don't want to competitions listening.
Yeah.
But everybody just know Kevin Hess. I love the customer service. That I've learned so much from him, and I just consistently hear it from the clients. Like they're just so happy, and it just separates us from everybody else. And they're consistently saying that.
Hell yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, I want to call it a night, man. And we've been on for an hour and a half, but I appreciate everybody's time. We had a great talk and everything, and definitely going to get more consistent with coming on here, guys, and kind of doing informal kind of conversations like this. I do want to get the chat more engaged next time, so next time we'll get some more questions going and all that. But appreciate everybody coming on. Would you guys like to shout out any of your social media platforms before we call it a night?
I mean, you guys know where to find us.
All right, guys. William, I agree with you. I think we should definitely get on, get Autopilot on here and get some of these guys on as well. I think that would be a good, we could learn from that as well. Denise says jobbers should have vehicle tracking with integration, fleet sharp, and force fleet tracking. Yeah, Denise, that's what I'm talking about. I want, I want that with Autopilot as well. I think that would be a good move. I think it really makes it even look more and more official. So something maybe to think about. And want to say shout out to the Queen. We got Denise Sparks in the house, and Denise, you were a big part of me coming back on and everything. You know, you had a little conversation the other day, so you inspire. So keep doing you. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Later.